These are two 5-foot T8 tubes, and I'm going to be replacing it with two 4-foot LED tubes, and I'm going to retrofit this fluorescent light fitting, and I'm going to demonstrate how to retrofit this fluorescent light fitting for an LED tube set. Now, this is the LED tube. There is a video comparing the LED versus the fluorescent, which you can watch of mine. Now, let's take the measurement. It's important to realize that with fluorescent lighting, they take time to reach their full brightness. So there's also a method on how to measure light. There is a standard, ANSI standard. Now I'm just using my cell phone as a relative measure. So let's see. If we give the light some time, they have now been on for a few minutes. So the lumens that the lumens that are available for these two fluorescent lights is sitting at 280. Now, as I said, I wouldn't take that as gospel. The point is, I'm going to change this with the LED and see what change in light and brightness I can achieve, and even though I'm using a smaller globe. So now I'm going to demonstrate how to retrofit the fitting. Right, to retrofit this light fitting, I recommend you have a multimeter and some tools like a wire stripper. You might need a screwdriver, definitely a pair of side cutters. Now the point of the retrofit is that these LED tubes do not require a starter. It is built into the tube. I'm sure it turns it into DC. There's a regulator. So all that the LED light needs is a live and a neutral. So what that means is that from your AC light cable in your ceiling, which would be sitting here, this is where you would normally wire from your ceiling. There will be a live, neutral and earth. So all I need to do is cancel or disconnect the capacitor and the inductor, and I just need to wire it directly to the fitting for the LED. And then the other thing is, the LED only needs it on one side of the tube. The other side is literally just a dummy side, just for holding the tube inside. So I do not need to wire it to both sides. If you do not watch this video till the end, I just want to give you a warning. If you do retrofit your light fittings, please label it. Label it clearly, so that the next person doesn't go and install a fluorescent light thinking that it's a normal fluorescent light. So you can get a sticker or something like that, but please do this immediately, and that is to say LED and then the voltage. In my country it's 220 to 240. So you need to just determine what your voltage is, and you need to label it by the starter, and you can say LED, so that the next person, and you can get a sticker. Stickers may be neater, but I'm just showing you in a rough manner. See, I've written it now LED, and the reason is that you don't want someone to install a fluorescent tube thinking that this is a normal fluorescent fitting, and then kaboom, they get a little explosion in their face. Right, so now the actual retrofit. I can choose a side. So I'm going to choose a side that is closest to the terminal block, and I'm going to just choose the side on my right, which is out of the field of the camera. So I'm just going to bring it in, and this is the side that I'm going to work with. Right, so what I need to do is make sure that I have a live and a neutral, and a live and a neutral. These actually need to be in parallel. So I see some wires here. I see it goes through a starter. I no longer need that starter, and I also see that it goes through a inductor, which I no longer need. So I'm going to unplug the inductor, and I'm going to unplug the live. The live is normally the brown or the red. Okay, so I've disconnected the inductor. Now on this side, I'm going to totally disconnect it from the actual terminal block, so that this whole side of the light is offline, because I'm not going to be using it. There we go, and there we go. So that is now offline. I'm then also going to disconnect it from the inductor. And a good thing to also have, which I didn't mention, is some insulation tape. Now I've just taken that wire off. If you want to, you could just put some insulation tape around these loose wires, because maybe you want to at a later stage put it back to fluorescent. But if not, you can just actually cut the wires off. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm just unhooking these wires just so that I can actually see which wire is which. And I can see this wire is going all the way that side, so I'm now going to cut it. There we go. And the other one, which is also on the way to that side, I'm also going to cut. Okay, so that's cut off completely. Now I have 4 wires here. And 1 wire is on the way to the starter, which I'm now going to cut off. So there we go. So all we need to now do is make sure we have a live and neutral, and a live and neutral, and actually these two can be in parallel. Now it's important to realize that the fluorescent light needs a live and a neutral, and it has its own polarity. So when you insert the fluorescent light, you need to make sure that you've connected the live and the neutral in the right place. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to have to use the meter. You see, so we're going to have to use the meter to know that once it's fitted, that we have the live and the neutral connected correctly. Okay, now this isn't the only type of fitting. There are several fittings. So what I can do is I can open it just to give a demonstration of what's actually inside there. It just looks like this. This is just a holder. Now, when this turns, when this thing turns, when you've got your globe in here, it opens up the terminals. There's one terminal and there's one terminal. So what I need to now do is to choose actually which wire is for which. So, and then I can label it, and that will be my polarity for this fluorescent light. Now you might say, but AC doesn't have polarity. That's only partly true. So let's do that. Strip this side, and let's get the other side here. Let's strip this side. Okay, it's already stripped. Now I need to choose one of these to be my live. Okay, just to make sure. Okay, so we can see that I'm just using a continuity measurement just to make sure. Look, it is obvious that this wire is going in that side, so it's that terminal. But I'm just trying to do it the best, most accurate way. So I can see this side is this wire. So now I must decide, will that be my live? So let me now label this as live. Live, and this side then must be neutral. Now remember that this thing is going to be put back in here, so I must be able to see those I must be able to see those labels. So that's neutral. So neutral is on this side and live is on that side. There we go. I said the live was my shorter one, so now I must label it live, and this side is neutral. Right, now for the other connector, it's exactly the same. I must choose one as live and one as neutral. And as I said, they can just be in parallel, which means that if my short wire over here is my live, then I can also take this one here as my live and actually just join them together. Now, important thing, when you're fitting the LED lights, you need to install them correctly. So am I going to be turning clockwise or anti-clockwise? You see, what happens is when you insert the tube, this side, you're going to say, okay, live is going to, where's it? Okay, my bad. I can see that the live is sitting here. So I must make sure that L, and if you can't see, I'm just going to make it black. This pin, that pin, must be aligned to the L, the live, of the fitting here. So I just want to fix this quickly. Right, so there we go. I'm going to insert it here. So I need to know that I am going to rotate it like that. Now I see that the line is with the live. There's the live. Alright, so you need to keep that in mind when you're inserting this tube. So that means, which way am I going to label this one? Am I going to then follow a sequence here? So let's call this side also L. L. And this side here is N. Neutral. There we go. I should actually get a better pen. L, L, N, N. Right, so that's now done. So all I need to do now is join the wires to the supply, and that's it. So I've got live is on this side, which is this long wire, and for this one it was the short wire. And you see, live is this one and my live is this one. So all I'm going to do is now quickly join them. I'm going to open up here like that, and I'm going to open that like that, and I'm going to join them using a terminal plug, a terminal block. So I'm going to open this here. I'm going to twist. So these are both lives now. And I'm going to insert it in here. Right. And that's my live. And I'm going to label it L. Live. Right. Now the other two are then the neutral. I'm going to close this cover now. There's my live, and these two are my neutrals. So I'm going to cut it here. I'm going to strip it down here. Now why I'm not making these the same length is firstly the space inside here, and secondly I'm trying to demonstrate this without adding, without you having to go and buy extra wire. So the other terminal terminal is here. Okay, you just unscrew it and you insert it in like that. There we go. So I have live and neutral. To be on the safe side, we can check it again. I'm going to turn this manually. There we go. And I'm going to turn this one manually. And now I'm going to use a continuity test. Continuity looks like that on your meter. And all it does is, if there's a short circuit, you will hear that sound. If you want, you could also do a resistance check if you haven't got that on your meter. You see when I touch the two wires, you can see it says they're 0.1 ohms. That is just the resistance of the actual wire. But I want to just do the continuity so I don't have to look at the meter. Alright, according to me, this is live. So when I touch it to this one, it should beep. Yes? And when I touch it to this live, it should beep. If I touch it to the neutral on the other side, there should be no beep. Right, and if I touch the neutral and the neutral together, it should beep. Correct? And it should, if I pull this neutral lead, yes. And going from the neutral to the live, no connection. Right, so that's now sorted. Now I can actually insert this back into the fitting, and it is now ready to be wired to the power. So this is where you're going to use this extra cable. Now, if you want to do this 100% correctly, you should then use the live, which is the brown wires, to symbolize the live. I'm just going to cut this unnecessary wire here because I'm no longer using a starter. So now all we need to do is join this, almost a fly lead, from the live and neutral terminal block to the retrofitted cables. So what you need to do is you just cut it like that. Remember, when you use the side cutters, you must measure first, otherwise you will, this is solid cable, which means there's only one core, and if you bed into the wire, and if you go like this too many times, it'll just pop off. So that is why do not be too rough with the side cutters, I mean the wire strippers. And then what I do is I'm going to insert that, that's a long one, so let's put it here with the live. I'm going to insert it in here, and I'm just going to bend it so that it's a little bit thicker. So it's got the screw has got more to the screw that it bites into has more surface area. Right, there we go. Now I'll put that in here. And now I will tighten it with my screwdriver. Now we can really tighten it. Okay, it's tight. Okay, let's feel it. Perfect. Now the neutral. Remember, this was the live. Okay, let's actually finish with the live. Now the live must be wired to the live. And on my block, the live is on the left hand side, so I will just open some of the space there and open the wire and insert this into this fitting here. The quality of these fluorescent lights, they really do not make these things to be used or to be retrofitted, so don't be surprised if things are loose and things break so easily. It's kind of a once use fitting. Now I just have to do the neutral wire, and I'll just thread it. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to thread on the other side, so keeping the live and neutral separate. You don't have to do that. Now this is where you could use insulation tape. If you wanted to, you could tie this in insulation tape, but what I'm going to do is there is a little steel clip there, and I've tightened that down to keep the wire from moving around. Sorry about the camera bump. Now all I need to do is wire the neutral into the neutral. Right, so now I go there into the neutral. And the neutral is sitting here. So and then again, because my terminal block is a little bit bigger, I'm going to then bend it like that, and I'm going to open the screw here a bit. Okay, insert that. Now I can just tighten it full stick. Okay, it's tight, and this side tight. Now let's check it. Yes, it's fine. Let's seat this. Now this is my problem with these fluorescent lights. You can see this one isn't even tight, and that's for the earth, which is actually the chassis. So let's just tighten this one. There we go. Now all we need to do is install this into the ceiling. We need a live and a neutral, and that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out these other wires now and clean up this side. Okay, this capacitor is not going to be used, so I can just put that like that. These wires here can also be pulled out now. It's also a good idea to remove the starter. This also signifies to an electrician that if there's no starter, then they must assume, you know, there's something wrong. So that also signifies that the light has been fiddled with. And now what I need to do is just remove these wires. So I can just cut this one here where the starter was. That's one. And these over here. Now what I do is I stagger them when I cut them, and there's a reason for that. Not all LED light tubes are the same, so I do not know for sure that on the other side of the LED tube there will be no current. So what I'm going to do is, at this point, I'm going to take insulation tape and just tie these, because while there shouldn't be any electricity or voltage on the other side of the tube, I'm not the one who manufactured the light, so I'm just going to tie these so that these cannot touch the chassis if it does go live. Right. Now I'm going to quickly tie these up with some insulation tape. Okay, now I'm going to put this back in, and that is it. So what I need to do now is just reinstall this into the ceiling. So I have to take out the old and put this one in. You might also need these butterfly screws. How a butterfly screw works is you insert it through the hole in the light fitting. That goes through the light fitting. This goes on the other side, so it'll be through there, and this is on this side. You tighten it. This goes through the rhino board of the ceiling, and then as you tighten it, it pulls closer to the light fitting. So I have to now uninstall the original light. Which is up there. Right, now what you need to do is switch the electricity off. Right, you need to test that the electricity is off. You need to test that the electricity is off, and the best way to test it is to use a multimeter. So live neutral, 0 volts, power's off. 3. Now we unscrew the butterfly screws, and if you are lucky you can actually still reuse them. Okay. There's the one. Right, now I need to, I'm using a washer. I place that inside that side, and on the other side I use the butterfly screw. Then the butterfly screw goes into the ceiling. And the same on the other side, and now I go and install it into the ceiling. Feed the supply cables through. Tighten the butterfly screw. That, and the other side, which needs a flip and washer. Right, now you just check that it's straight. Okay, then you tighten it all. Yeah, it's fine. Now we've got to just attach the live and the neutral. Now, as you can see, I've labeled the tube live, so I know that my line, when I insert this thing, the live must be turned upwards to align with the live. And that's it, and that brings you to the end of this video. So I'll insert this, I need both hands, and then take it from there. If you can see, the live is the line, goes with the live, and then can you see when I turn it, it aligns to the live, which is now perfect. Now I can switch on the light. There we go. And I can take a lumen measurement again. Right, so the measurement is, as you can see, 330 for two 18-watt LED tubes. So I effectively not only reduced the wattage because it's LED, I also reduced the size of the fitting because I had two 5-foots and I swapped it for two 4-foot, and I have achieved the same or more lumens. I can't remember, I think it's about the same. So by changing to these LEDs, and there are the light fittings, the tubes there, I have now saved the 5-foot were, I think, the 5 foot were 58 watts, so that was 58 and 58 is 116 watts, and these LED ones are only 36 watts, and I'm getting the same lumens relative. So that shows me that the LED was a good choice. You might be asking, how is it possible that a 5 foot isn't as bright as a 4 foot? And the reason is that these 5 foots were not brand new, and as I said, fluorescent lights do lose their edge as time goes on, and that is how you retrofit a LED tube into a previously fluorescent tube. Thanks for watching.